Welcome back to Edgework here on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is Thursday, April 27th, and we're looking at the Boston Bruins now up 3-2 in their series, heading back to Florida. The Colorado Avalanche down 3-2, heading to Seattle for Game 6. Couple of swings in those series last night for the only two games that were on the schedule last night, and then looking at tonight, so money. I mean, we have an opportunity here for the Toronto Maple Leafs to be the first team into the second round with that Boston loss last night. So we'll recap last night's games. We'll look ahead to tonight's games, give out our best bets here today on the show. And to help me break it all down today, joined by So Money, Russ. So Money, I'm going to you first. This has been an exciting week for you here. You look at the Oilers, couple wins. Look at the Leafs. You get out to a 3-1 series lead. How are you feeling? This is your. I don't even know what this is for you. This is just the best week you could possibly have to start here so far.
Yeah, it's been a fun playoffs, not only for the end game results, but also in game as well. Like things have just been lining up. This is one of those weeks that you remember throughout your whole career in betting. So I've been very fortunate, and things are looking good.
Russ, how are you feeling right now? We talked about the fact you are an Avalanche fan. So, I mean, to see them go down 3-2 in the series, there's obviously that. It takes away a little bit. But on the other side, we did discuss ahead of the playoffs, your Devils futures that you were hanging on to. You saw them go down 2-0. You see them now climb back in the series 2-2 on the back of Akira Schmid. And are things starting to feel a little bit better? You're not as like down in the dumps, or where are you at mentally?
Yeah, no, the first week or so, I was definitely concerned. I've got these series prices on the Leafs, series price on the Stars, and then, of course, the futures on the Devils. And, yeah, to start that first week, all of those looked fairly poor or a little bit iffy. And then fast forward to just after Game 4, and all of them look fairly good. Yeah, like you said, the Devils have turned it around and figured it out. Now, on the flip side, yeah, being a fan – the Avs played, they just haven't been playing well. The Kraken have looked awesome. And I think that was a little bit more expected last night by me anyway, with them missing Nichushkin and Cale Makar being out. But, yeah, I think they've got a battle on their hands. So as a fan, I am concerned about the Avs for sure. But from a betting perspective, doing pretty well so far. I think, in a good spot right now, and can finally cash a series price tonight if the Leafs take care of business. So, yeah, I think we're all going to be rooting for the Leafs tonight, man.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that Avs game last night. There were two, so we'll get to both of them, just recapping them briefly. But starting with the Avs-Seattle game, you go back to Seattle now. You're down 3-2 in the series. At no point here are you getting Landeskog back. Your team is looking different than last year. Obviously, you lose a guy like Nazem Kadri. Landeskog out the whole year, so those are big differences. Now, you do get Cale Makar back in this game. That adds a bump. It adds a little bit of a boost to the team. But even with that being said, you were still 2-2 with him in the lineup. If you're Colorado, you're going here down 3-2 into Seattle, where that barn looked like it was absolutely rocking the other night. How do you kind of feel about your chances about taking this one in 6 and evening things up, going back to Colorado for 7 if you are the Avs, or has their play to this point kind of just deterred you to the point of like, hey, I could really see Seattle taking this one. I don't know if the Avs can actually climb back in.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't feel good. That game on Friday in Seattle is just going to be absolutely insane. That place is going to be nuts. Even last night, they were showing clips of the fans in Seattle watching the game at their watch parties, and everybody was going nuts. It's absolutely amazing how they've garnered so much support for such a young team in such a short period of time. But no, I mean, if you're an Avs fan, if you're an Avs at all, an Avs backer, you should be concerned. This team is just not looking like they were, the second half of the regular season, and they're nowhere near what they were last year. They're very much seeing, some of these injuries, they are coming to fruition now. You can kind of put a Band-Aid on them during the regular season and kind of hide some of them. But yeah, in a 7-game series, all of these inefficiencies, they come out, and the Seattle Kraken are taking advantage of them. So I'm a little bit worried about this series. And I could see the Seattle going through. They look like the better team right now. It's kind of surprising, but
So Money, is there a buzz out there on the West Coast? Are people in Vancouver getting behind the Seattle Kraken right now as they're going on this little first round run here?
I haven't noticed it. I think that once the Canucks season ends, um, usually during the Canucks season, we have fans that just like check out here. So they probably don't even know hockey's going on still right now.
That's what I saw people online saying. They're like, yeah, the people in Vancouver just they've checked out. Like that's that's it for them. Like
I mean,
Canucks done and it's
like
over.
Stop
like
watching.
the yeah, like the weather's getting better. Everybody's like
Right.
going out, hitting the beach and whatever. Like, I mean, it's not gonna.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about hockey right now.
yeah. As far as the Seattle Colorado series goes for you though, like what do you
Yeah,
make of what's gone on so far?
I'd be concerned if I was Colorado, and it's it's kind of sad to see sometimes too when you have like these great teams that you just hit like a rough patch, right? Like, I mean, the Avalanche franchise, their team, they're going to be fine long term. It's just like there's a lot of external factors that all came together all at once for them. Like I've mentioned this before, but they did expect Landeskog to be back,
Yeah.
and then otherwise they would have addressed that depth issue, right? So he doesn't come back. You have
Well, they thought they were going to get 20 games out of him at the end of the
yeah,
regular season.
absolutely, yeah. And then whatever's happening with Nichushkin, like he's not going to be around, right? Like, and injuries all season, right? So it's just all of these things that just like came at them all at once. Um and for Seattle, it's not only just because Colorado's had these struggles. You have to give credit to the Kraken as well. They've played well. They've been right there. We've been saying all season, if they get any sort of goaltending, even at just an above average level, this team is going to be good. And we're seeing that how good they can be if they get goaltending. So you have to give credit to the Kraken as well. I'm not I'm not going to say unequivocally that the series is over yet, but it does look tough for Colorado right now to go into Seattle, especially with their depth issues.
Well, what do you make of what's going on in the Boston series right now? You're going back to Florida for Game 6. You see the Panthers do a little bit of flip flopping of their goaltending after Game 1. It kind of seemed like all of a sudden Florida came out with a little bit of a newfound energy
Yeah.
within their team. Like you see them come out with a little bit more jump. I don't know if that was dragged out of them by Matthew Tkachuk, but you see the comments Paul Maurice made about him last night, and you see this guy said he's a bunch of expletives gamer. That's what he is. He described his game because he's a guy that can just drag you in the fight and kind of change the tides of what's happening with the team. And now you're seeing Boston struggle with him a little bit. I was seeing some stuff online about Bruins fans panicking about Ullmark even before last night's game, after the giveaway in overtime, which leads to the eventual Matthew Tkachuk overtime game-winning goal. I can't imagine that they're in a very happy place this morning, but aside from that, I mean, are you panicked at all if you are the Boston Bruins going into this? Like you've now kind of put a little bit more pressure on yourself, especially in the public eye, in terms of you were this President's Trophy winning team who made NHL history, and now you're up only 3-2 in this series, and this team's clawing back in.
So when we did the previews, you asked where I think that this series finishes, and I said Bruins in 3.
Yeah.
But I also said that there could be a path here if Lyon struggles and Bobrovsky comes in and kind of steals games, right? He was awesome in Game 5. Um, if I'm Boston, I'm not panicked, but it is cause of concern, especially with Florida kind of starting to play themselves into this series a bit. Um, yes, they did not deserve to win Game 5, but they were right there. And Maurice mentioned this as well, that Barkov was really sick heading into Game 1, and now he's starting to get stronger and stronger every game. Bennett is back, so um, I wouldn't be panicked, but um, you need to put them away in Game 6. And if you do make a goaltending change, I don't agree with it at this point because I think it's too reactionary. So those would be my concerns for the Bruins. I think they're still okay, but they better get the job done in Game 6 because Florida in a Game 7 situation, playoffs are weird, and they'd be at this position where they really shouldn't be. So, and it's a Game 7, so like things can happen. So if I'm Boston, I better put them away in Game 6.
Yeah.
Zach, you're on mute.
Zach's muted for some reason. Anyways, no, I completely agree with you. So Money, they have two chances here to win.
Yeah.
They have two chances to win one game here. They have to go back to Florida for this next one, which will be super tough. But I agree with you. I don't think you need to switch goalies. I don't think you need to go with Swayman, one of the best goalies in the regular season, Ullmark, and he just made a completely bonehead mistake at the end of that game. But other than that, the Bruins dominated that game, man. 47 shots on goal. Obviously, Bobrovsky can, he does that every once in a while, but I don't know that I would trust him to do that 3 games in a row, which is now exactly what he has to do. So I completely agree with you. I think, even going into this series, we had all kind of chatted about how the Panthers were live. I think even that number on them was a little bit long, and you're seeing that right now. You're seeing the fight that they have, and the reason that some of their star players can keep them in the game or win the game is exactly what happened last night. But I agree with So Money here. I wouldn't be panicking if I was a Bruins fan or a Bruins backer. They've got 2 chances to win this game, and I agree with you. I would stay with Ullmark and trust in him to figure it out over Swayman at this point.
All right. Is
Good?
my mic working now? Good now?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Okay. Yeah. There. No, all I was saying is he says hide your biases and stop grinning about the Bruins loss. I just want that whoever's playing, hopefully the Leafs in the next round, they just beat each other up. That's all I'm looking for. Just wear each other down. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. I mean, both teams are getting the crap beat out of them. The Panthers are, yeah.
Yeah, and like the funny thing too is that like if the Leafs do close it out, then all of a sudden they're the team that gets the extra rest when it was supposed to be Tampa Bay Toronto goes long and Boston Florida is the short one.
Yeah, that's what they're saying last night. If the Bruins were to have won that game, they'd have over a week to rest, and not anymore.
Well, JH saying Leafs are going to the next round? Question mark? I think that's hopefully. So we'll get to that game as we just finish the recap of last night's games. But I do want to remind people, if you are looking to track all the picks that we've given out throughout the course of this season, as well as the playoffs here, you can find that in the BetStamp app, which you can find in iOS as well as Android, and on the web. And you can find us in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. Looking at yesterday, we go 1-1, but we finish up 19% ROI, $42 on $100 unit sizes. There you see we get the Kraken money line plus 160. You do lose on the first period over 1.5, minus 118 there. So unfortunate there, but we do finish up on the day. And if you do want to see all these picks, make sure to head over to the BetStamp app. But yesterday, getting these prices, I mean, look around, you found some of those plus 150 we were finding out there on Seattle. So you bet $100, you win $10 less. And we feel like the easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Make sure to download the app today, iOS, Android, as well as web. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework, and you can find the link in the description to this video, this stream as well. Or if you're listening on podcast form, it'll be in the description of the podcast as well there. And signing up through this page does help support the show, so please make sure to do so as well. Last thing before we get into the games here tonight, make sure to hit that subscribe button here on the channel, and So Money, put it up on screen. If you haven't hit like already, smash it. Smash that like button here to help support the show as well. Hit that like button while you're watching. But let's get into the games here tonight. And I know we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, Russ, here. Connor Erdl asking,
It's all right.
will you guys be coming to the Prudential Center? No, I will be sitting right here in this chair, because if we get to the conference finals, I've been sitting in this chair for every Leafs win to this point. So I'm not moving an inch. I will be sitting right here. So
That's crazy. No, yeah. I will say, if the Devils get to the finals, I'll fly out there and meet you, Connor, for sure. That would be so sick.
That would be pretty cool. All right, let's get to the games here tonight. 3 games on the schedule. We'll go through each one of them, see if we have bets. If not, we can just preview them, see maybe if there's something that we'd be looking for, prices we've been looking for. And let's start with the Toronto Maple Leafs Tampa Bay Lightning game. Obviously here now, Leafs up 3-1 in this series. At home, you've got a chance to close this one out. Just in terms of what the odds are here, you're looking at -149 for Toronto at home tonight. I said to So Money and Russ ahead of starting this show, from a numbers standpoint and looking at this one, yeah, the Leafs probably should be favored here based on the fact that you are up 3-1 in the series. You went into this one as favorites. Nothing's really changed from that standpoint. From a narrative standpoint here, though, there is a lot of pressure on the Leafs. And if you're talking about panic mode and things that could go sideways, you lose this game, the people of Toronto will basically be in a position of this series is over, we have lost now. Because going back to Tampa, everyone in Toronto will say, you ain't winning Game 6 in Tampa. It's going 7, and nobody trusts this team in 7. So this is the opportunity. You close this one out. You get it done. But So Money, as our resident now, or honorary Leafs fan for these playoffs, you look at this number, -149 for the Leafs at home. Is this a number that you can get behind? Is it too far gone? Where are you kind of at just looking at betting on this game tonight?
I think the number is fair based on where these teams are right now. I certainly wouldn't be laying the Leafs right now, but there's also I also have futures on them as well. So essentially, I have bet the Leafs tonight, right? So,
Right.
So I think that number is fair. It's not. I joke about Leafs in 5 and stuff, but it's really not going to be that easy. This is not a Tampa Bay team that's just gonna wilt away here, and I would expect Vasilevsky to, at some point. I've been waiting for him to have a big game. Maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know, but that's not something that I would necessarily be betting against right now. So I do expect him to have a better game. I did notice that even with the score 5-4 and the comeback or whatever, the teams were starting to tighten up a bit, and I've been waiting for that. So I do like the under for tonight. A little concerning with, especially if you've been following me for a while, you know the concerns that I have when John Cooper is trailing late in games, and how early he likes to pull his goaltenders, and how much I've been burned with that in the past. So that concerns me with the under, but I don't expect a open game. Both teams were looking to tighten it up. I think that it was getting there. So I do like the under tonight, but in terms of the side, I think it's a good number, and I think the Leafs do get it done, but it's not a number that I'll be betting into though.
Would you want to play this here, So Money, the under 6.5 -103 as it stands right now?
Yeah, I think that's good.
So we'll lock that in here as our first bet. Russ, any thoughts for you on where the number's at? Are you kind of in agreement with So Money?
Yeah, yep, I'm pretty much in agreement. I think, we need to talk a little bit about the Michael Bunting issue, because I have a players-based model, and Rob was posting about it a bunch yesterday. This is, basically just a Galaxy Brain move by or like basically an opposite of a Galaxy Brain. It's like just overthinking putting in Sam Laverty for Bunting. It actually changes my projections close to 3%. I've got right around -156 with Bunting in, and closer to -139 without. So, with the current lineup as it stands, I do think the line is a little bit long on the Maple Leafs, just as far as a market price goes. But, it's not long enough for me to get involved on the Leafs at all. 10 cents or so, as far as my numbers go, is not enough for me to make a play. But yeah, I do think, I think that they're making a mistake there, not playing Bunting off of just one bad game. And then as far as the total goes, we were having some success playing the overs when they were lining them at 6. And early on in the season, I think the game script kind of leaned towards a more high event game, a more, kind of open game, basically more chances in the ozone. And, last game it completely shifted. I think it tightened up a lot. In the last 2 games, actually, both of them went to overtime. So I actually agree with So Money here. I do think it'll be a tighter game. I think the under is worth a look. It's, we are all waiting for Vasilevsky just to snap back into form and have one of those games where he has 31 saves and allows 1 goal. It hasn't happened yet. And Tampa Bay has the lowest save percentage of any team left in the playoffs so far, which is absolutely crazy. And I think you can hang that on their defense just as much as you can on Vasilevsky. But Toronto knows where to shoot the puck from. They know to get those right at the top of the zone shots. So it seems like, they've got an advantage there. But yeah, I think So Money hit it on the head. The number looks all right to me. As far as game script goes, I expect this to be a very close, very tight, pack in the defense type of game. So I would lean towards the under, but I will have no play here. One thing I want to say, I kind of lean towards some of the Toronto player props just because they've been peppering the goal with shots. But I think that they've all been adjusted up. We went back to Ryan O'Reilly last week and hit that, and he was minus 150. Wake up today, and he's minus 180 to go over. And I think all of their props have been adjusted to go over. So, looking at that this morning, I was trying to find an angle, and it seems like they've all been bumped up by 15 or 20%. So, I'd be cautious if you're looking to play that market at all. So it would be no props for me on this one. And, I'm just going to be rooting for the Leafs for you guys. And then I do have the series price on the Leafs. So yeah, go Leafs, man. That's all I got.
I will say this in terms of the Bunting thing. I looked into it yesterday because I didn't really know what to think. And I kind of had the same initial thoughts,
sure,
Russ, as you. My thinking on it right now is that I think it's hard for him to fit into the top 9.
Sure.
He's not taking out Nyes. Does not deserve to take out Nyes. Nyes has been pretty incredible, and you look at Keefe's usage of him. Like the guy is he's pretty trusted at this point by the coach, and despite even having played 6 games now in the NHL. He is an upgrade in terms of play wise over Lafferty, but there is one major cause for concern. Through the regular season, Michael Bunting finished with 103 penalty minutes. Only 1 was a 5-minute fighting major, which means he took 49 minor penalties in the 82-game season. Yeah. The next closest player on the Leafs in penalty minutes was Mark Giordano at 52. Wow. So he doubled his penalty minutes. And this is a series against a team who they love to drag you into it, and that's one guy in particular they will love to drag in. So
yeah,
in terms of just closing it out, I kind of got that.
I love that.
And I feel bad for Keefe too, because he's in like a no-win situation here, right? Like what is it like? I don't see the point of putting Bunting on the 4th line, right? Like if you're gonna play him, like you need to use him properly and like where he can properly slot in. So, and if he does put him in and take out Lafferty or whatever, then then he's still in a bad position. That why are you making changes after you've won 3 games, right? So, I feel bad for him. I wish there was a way for them to kind of get Bunting in there, because obviously he's a better option in terms of where you are as a team holistically in terms of goals scored. But it's just tough when you're trying to allocate minutes and you're giving Bunting 4th line minutes. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that's super insightful. I basically have all I go off of, is player minutes, the numbers that I have in front of me, the analyticals. But I think that the penalty minutes, you absolutely nailed it, Zach. That is an extreme, tangent or variable that I don't have really in my model numbers at all. But that's exactly it. That has to be the reason why they're keeping them out. And I think, that's exactly why people should tune into this show. You get some of the super insightful, takes from like hardcore diehard Leafs fans that like, I don't even, think about looking at that angle at all. And I think, I think that's very, very insightful. And, I'm glad you brought it up, honestly.
Monday to Friday morning. Hi, George.
Yes. 10:30.
Set your alarm, set your reminders. No, seriously, that's super interesting.
Yeah, it was more just like, because I'm looking at it like, well, I
Yeah,
don't know that he fits in the fourth line role like somebody kind of said. He got to be used properly up in the top nine. I think
I
he's
think
going to have a
that's
hard time right now pushing guys out. So, yeah. The other thing was Jeff here says, Nye's anytime goal scorer. We'll say he's being used on the second power play unit. He's
Yep.
now bumped up to the top line, second line, excuse me. So he's playing top 6 minutes, and Sheldon keeps putting him out there in late game situations for tying goals and stuff. But I will say that 470 is best price available in Ontario. I mean, I'm looking at some of the more widely available numbers.
oh yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
crazy.
gone, like it's moving down quickly. And last game I played it at plus 550, so that tells you
Wow.
where it's gone from there.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, your JH is
he is.
busting
He's
out
playing
some
awesome
strip
though.
slurs. But yeah, he's been playing really well. He's
Yeah.
deserving of those minutes in the top there. Okay, so the only one we played in that Leafs game, the under 6.5 currently. Now, Russ, I'm going to you to start this one on this next game. New Jersey, New York. So many talked about he's got futures on the Leafs. So technically, he's got a bet on the Leafs here tonight. You have futures yourself on the Devils, so technically you as well have bets on the Devils in this game tonight. But aside from that, on a game-to-game basis, you look at them minus 110 here, best price available, plus 102 on the Rangers. Now, from a standpoint of, hey, you have futures to now you're looking at betting it game to game, how do you kind of look at this game tonight? And do you think New Jersey deserves to be favored in this position at home, minus 110 against New York?
Yeah, yep. I think that this number is a little bit short. Even, I'd probably make it right around minus 120, which it seems like some of the shops are getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of personally, when I do have a future on a team like this, I don't let it affect any of my numbers or any of my betting. Just personally, I have played the Devils once in this series, and we lost that game. And this is one of those series that's just completely back and forth. I think these teams are so evenly matched that it's kind of a difficult series to handicap. This Devils team is actually a much better road team, as they've proven all throughout the regular season. So went up to New York, won both those games. Do they come back in New Jersey and just lay an egg? Do they, have they flipped the switch? Have they flipped the switch? Have they figured out the penalty situation? So this is a very, very tough series for me to handicap. I think that, one of the ways you could look is potentially the under, just because these teams have been playing such good defense, and both goalies are actually playing very well with Schmid. But see, that's taken money also, and it's literally basically bet right into where I have it. I think, if you would have bet that last night or even early this morning at minus 115 or so, there might have been some value there. But unfortunately, I'm going to have no play here. I'll be rooting on the Devils. I think that they kind of have figured it out. That first game, they took 3 penalties. They really just played absolutely terrible. But then that second game, they took 14 penalties. Third game, they took 3 penalties. And then this last game, they only took 6 penalties in game 3. Game 4, they took 3 penalties. So they're starting to figure it out, starting to take less penalties, starting to kind of figure out how the refs are calling it. And that's the number one thing. If you want to beat this Rangers team, you have to stay out of the box. The only way you're going to give up, chances to this Rangers team is against their power play. And I think they're kind of figuring that out. And all credit to Lindy Ruff and for getting these guys back after an 0-2 start. I think, like I said, I'm not sure if they just lay an egg here at home and get the next one in New York, or if they actually have flipped the switch. It's too hard to tell for me from a handicapping perspective. So I won't have a play on this game. Unfortunately, I'll just be rooting for the Devils for future purposes.
So, Money, is there anything that you might be looking to play in this game?
It's a really tough series. I do have a view on the Devils, but I just need that to come down a little bit more. I think right now, if I can get a minus 110 on the Devils right now, I would do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
But it's not widely available for me right now, so it's really tough. Like I do like the Devils at minus 110 right now. I've been pumping Akira Schmid's tires all season. I've been saying that whenever he gets confirmed, the market just seems to overreact to him for no reason. And now we're seeing basically on like a national level, like how how good this kid is. And it's unfortunate. I was just talking with the guys that I only got one game to bet the Devils at an under 6 with Akira in net before everything adjusted. So I completely agree with Russ's take. I would have loved the under here, but at a juiced 5.5 is really tough for me. The concern I have from the Devils' perspective is that the Rangers, and they've talked about this openly as well, is that they play a much simpler, more Ranger-like game on the road, and there was concern coming from Gallant going into Game 3 that once they get back home, then he was a little concerned that they would start doing things that are not Ranger like and try to like open things up, and that's when we saw the high danger chances for the Devils pick up in games 3 and 4. So that would be a concern I have with the Devils perspective in this game, and that's why I'm very price sensitive here, because the margins for me in this game are very, very tight. So I need to be able to have the perfect price in order to bet the Devils in this game. So if it does get to a widely available minus 110, I'm good with that. I think that the Devils at minus 110 are good, but I'm hoping that this price comes down a little bit more. I do like the Devils tonight, but I need that perfect number for them.
So for the sake of the chat and people listening back and stuff, there's only one minus 110 out there right now currently sitting. So we're going to leave it. But if you do have access to that and you can find them, someone you're saying minus 110 would be the perfect price for you to be able to play it at. Well, we won't track it here on the show just because it is not something widely available that everyone can get their hands on. So we'll leave it at that. Is minus 110 like the only price you'd play this at here? Somebody minus 110 or better? Would you wander a little bit further past that? How far would you go? Just like, or does it have to be 110 and better?
So in this particular game, because of my margins, how tight they are here, 110 is the maximum that I'd go to. Obviously, I'd bet anything better. If the Rangers take money and we go below minus 110, like awesome, that's great.
Yeah.
Right. But that's right there is like it is my max for this game.
Okay. So there you go. If you are watching, you now are looking, or you're listening back on podcast and you see minus 110 or better on the Devils, playable, but we won't track it here just for that sake of transparency. Now, final game of the night, we'll look at the Winnipeg Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas up 3-1 in this series here after having won the last 3 straight games. You see Winnipeg with a bunch of injuries that they've had to deal with to this point. Some big players coming out of their lineup. Now, Russ, you look at this game, we're seeing obviously some low numbers. Some of that is in part due to the fact that the Jets still have Connor Hellebuyck in net and like an over 5.5 here. We're looking at Vegas minus 180 at home in this game with an opportunity to close it out and finish off this series. What would you be looking at tonight to play in this game?
We made a play on the over 5.5 this morning. It looks like it's taking some money bouncing around. I think that minus 119 is fine. There was minus 115 around earlier. I would probably cut it off right about 125 or so. I would, go ahead and lock that in. This is fairly simple for me. I think that this number should be 6. I'm not exactly sure why they keep lining it at 5.5. I think, like you said, Zach, a lot of support, a lot of respect for Connor Hellebuyck, but it doesn't matter a ton when you have some of your top defenders injured and you're giving up 38 shots a game. Other than that first game, the Winnipeg Jets allowed 17 shots on goal, and then after that, they've averaged 38 shots on goal the last 3 games. This basically every game this series has gone over 5.5. We've played this. I think this will be the 3rd time we've played this over. Hasn't been particularly close. My numbers have north of 6.5 here with Brossoit and Hellebuyck confirmed in goal. I don't think we should get any surprises there. You obviously highlighted some of the injuries for the Jets. Now you've got Mark Scheifele out, Cole Perfetti. Nikolai Ehlers is a game time decision, I believe, but then Josh Morrissey is out. One of their best defenders. I think that the Knights will win this game. I have got minus 179. So, no value there. I think that T-Mobile Arena will be absolutely insane tonight. We'll be absolutely just rocking on a Thursday night and a chance to move on. So I honestly, I think the Jets, are up against it tonight. I could kind of see some goalies being pulled early. I could see this game getting out of hand. So yeah, give me the over 5.5. I could, get there with the 4-2. We could get there, many, many different ways. If it is a close game, hoping that it is 3-3 or something like that. But no, over 5.5 is the way that I'm going to go. I do have one player prop if you want me to fire that off as well.
Yeah,
I sure can. We're going to go with, I mentioned all the shots on goal for the Knights and just the lack of defense for the Jets these last 3 games. So there's a number of ways you can go, but there's one that I think is just a little bit mispriced, and it's a William Karlsson over 1.5 shots on goal. It's a little bit juiced. I think we played minus 150, but he's gone over this total in 3 of the 4 games in this series, and he should have no issues. Minus 155 is completely fine. And you can see that it's available a couple different places. I'd probably play it right up to minus 160 or so, which there's one of those at MGM and FanDuel and pretty much everywhere. But yeah, he's gone over this in 3 or 4 games. I think he should have, quite a few chances. And, he's on that second power play line tonight. So yeah, should have no issue going over that. And if it does follow the game script that I expect, which kind of an open game and very, very high event, hopefully we'll cash both these.
Russ, I'll ask you one more thing before we go to So Money and get his thoughts on this game tonight. Insight here in the chat says Kyle Connor over 3.5 shots on goal. Now, as you've been getting more into the props, I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on this here. I'm looking at over 3.5 minus 125 for Kyle Connor.
Yeah, I just think the price is just getting a little out of hand. Earlier on in the playoffs, we were playing the over 2.5 right as minus 150, minus 160. He was, coming out and getting 7 shots in the first period a couple times. Last game, we played the over 3.5 at minus 110, minus 115-ish. He had 3 shots, probably had a questionable one that, could have been graded as a shot depending on who the shot grader is, but did not cash this one. And, and then the price jumped even more. So yeah, I was seeing minus 130s, minus 140s. I think best price available is minus 125. I think that's too steep for me to take. I think there's better ways to look. Gun to my head, if I had to play over or under there, obviously I would play the over. But I think there's other players you could look towards. And I definitely lean towards some of these lower, some of these lesser known players just having to get 2 shots on goal, man. It's like, go into the third period and just need 1 and just start firing away, or empty net or anything like that. So I lean towards some of these lesser players, and we're going with William Karlsson tonight.
All right, so we'll lock those in. So you take the over 5.5 as well as the William Karlsson over shots on goal. We'll recap all of these before we finish the show here today, of course, as always. But So Money, before we move off of this game, thoughts for you between Winnipeg, Vegas tonight?
Yeah, I agree with Russ here on the over. I think that one of the things I was wrong about in this series is that I didn't expect Winnipeg to want to get into a high event game, and whether it be for personnel related reasons or just because they think they can outscore Vegas in an end-to-end game, they want to go back and forth with Vegas. So I do agree with the overlook here. It's really unfortunate for Winnipeg because I think that the loss of Morrissey and the subsequent minutes allocation after his loss, it kind of threw things out of whack for them. You have a guy like Pionk playing way more minutes than he should be, and that filters down to the rest of the lineup as well. When you have guys like now Scheifele's out, Ehlers has been out. I'm not sure if he's going to be back tonight, but I'm really big on minutes allocation, and it just throws things out of whack. Hellebuck hasn't been great this series, and I expected him to have a good series. I've always been high on Brisebois. I've made that known. I really like him. So I'm not surprised that he's playing well, but I didn't expect him to be better than Connor Hellebuck. So I think for those reasons, the side looks fair. I think that Vegas should be the overwhelming favorite. I do agree with Russ on his over. I just wish it was a little bit cheaper, but I think that that the over is the way to go in this game as well.
Yeah, it was like right at minus 120-ish this morning, and then it got hit down to like minus 114 at Pinnacle, and then just got bumped right back up. So there must be a little bit of disagreement. And they did post the lineup for Winnipeg, and it looks like Ehlers is in the lineup tonight.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. There's all of our picks for tonight. So we'll go through them at the to finish out the show here. But so money question for you before we finish this one out. Jeff McBride here asking in the chat, 'cause you won't be on the show tomorrow. Lowest price you'll play your Oilers at Saturday.
So I was I had to leave the chat when you guys were on the show on Tuesday, and then I had listened back afterwards, and Matt was asking if I've been betting the Oilers on a game by game basis. I have not, because it's been extremely inflated. Even this number on I guess the game's on Saturday, right? I don't know what day of the week it is. Even in game 6, that's a very inflated number for a road game in a game 6. So I would have I would have needed a minus 150 or just under minus 150 to even have interest in the Oilers, and we're seeing into the mid 60s, even low minus 170s. There hasn't been any value on the Oilers, and I did bet them live when they were down against the Kings in game, what is it, 4, right? Yeah. But yeah, I have not been betting the Oilers on a game by game basis. They're way too inflated.
Yeah, I think they closed that game 3 in LA. I think they closed like minus 175, minus 180. So I would say, if you do like it, minus 160, definitely play it now. But yeah, I completely agree with you. It's almost unbettable, unfortunately. Yeah, minus 162 on the road.
Yeah, some of the prices we were seeing on them were kind of crazy at that point. Yeah. So it makes sense. But
just keep playing the over.
But that doesn't mean that we are not still all Oilers. It's just that we're not Oilers on a game-by-game betting basis.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right. Well, looking at what we are here tonight in terms of what we have bet on for tonight's games, let's take a quick look and do a recap here. So for every one of these games, just as a heads up to everyone, we have played a full unit on all of these. So starting in the Toronto-Tampa Bay game, we're looking at the under 6.5, minus 103. That's the Toronto-Tampa game, under 6.5, minus 103. And then we're going to Winnipeg, Vegas, and we are taking William Karlsson, Wild Bill, over 1.5 shots on goal, minus 155. So William Karlsson over 1.5 shots on goal, minus 155. And the last bet for tonight in that game as well, Winnipeg, Vegas, over 5.5 total goals, minus 119. So over 5.5, minus 119. Those are our 3 picks for tonight's games. And again, if you do want to track and see how we've done on the season, if you want to see how we do here tonight, you can follow us in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as EdgeRick HQ. You check tomorrow morning, you'll be able to see it. As we've said over the last month or so here now, all the picks are locked until game time, because we want people to come over to the show to get it. But so money. There you go. We are all not financially Oilers on a game-to-game basis. That is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of
Yeah. Let's just say I need the Oilers to get through this round.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, hopefully the Leaves can help you out tonight. Leaves in 5. That's what we're looking for. Let's close this thing out sweat-free. Get in, get out, get yourself some rest, and get ready for the next round. But thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe. So money, Russ, thank you guys for taking the time to do this today. Appreciate the insight, the analysis, as always. For everyone else in the chat, I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Good luck on your bets. Go Leafs, go.